friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Laura. This is the Last Minute Laura channel. When you come here, you can usually find me making something. Today, I am going to be getting this project, the final project for Finish It February. I'm gonna get this bolero, cardigan, shrug little number finished today. I had one sleeve done and one body piece for a while. I'm going to be using a lot of yarn for this one, 4 balls of opal sock weight yarn. If I can find the exact color, I will link it in the description below. I used a 4mm hook for this one as well, and it did take a little more time than I originally expected. So if you are gonna try it out, definitely give yourself a little bit of extra time. Also, if you're new, I would love to invite you to subscribe to the channel. I'm out here every Monday, Friday, and Saturday of every week. Mondays and Saturdays, I live stream from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. And on Fridays at 10 a.m., my tutorial videos come out. So subscribe if any of that sounds like fun to you. And don't forget to like the video because it really helps with the algorithm and all that. Anywho, if you're interested in making this puffy little bolero, cardigan, shrug sort of thing, get your stuff and let's do it. Let's begin with the sleeve. So I'm going to use my 4mm hook and I'm going to start with a slip knot. After that, I'm going to chain 39. When I finish my chain, I'm going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook and then double crochet across. I'll meet you when I get to that point. 4, 37, 38, 39. All right, I've got my 39 stitches and now I'm going to double crochet into the 4th stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to double crochet across. All right, so I'm at the end of that row. I'm going to chain 2 and turn. And now we're going to do a variation on my ribbed stitch that I usually use for a cuff. Usually what I do is a front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet and then a front post, a back post. I'm going to show you a front post double crochet now. So yarn over and then insert your hook behind the entire column, the post of the double crochet from the previous row, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a front post double crochet. A back post double crochet, I'll show you that. Yarn over, and then you put your hook behind the entire work, come up through the work, and then go around the entire post, the entire double crochet from the previous row, pulling it back, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So normally I would go back to a front post, but for this pattern, I'm going to do another back post double crochet here. So the repeat I'm going to do for this is front post, back post, back post. Front post, back post, back post. And that is going to create this really cool chunky rib that's going to give us, it's just a completely different texture for a rib than what I normally do. And I think it comes out really cool. So I think you should give this one a shot. That being said, if you want to make a sweater and you want the rib stitch to be front post, back post, front post, like some of my others, you can definitely do that. It's going to work just fine for this as well. I just think this variation is a fun little switch up. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, or if I went through that a little bit too fast, I am going to link the tutorial I have for my front post double crochet, back post double crochet, crochet stitches. I'll link that in the description as well as in the iCard up in the corner. So if you don't know how to do that, you could check that out and then come back here to make this really cute little number. All right, so I'm just going to zoom through this row doing that repeat of front post double crochet, back post, front post, back post, all the way across, and I'm hoping to be ending on a front post. So if this doesn't end up wide enough for you, a way for you to adjust this one is just in groups of 6. So just do it in groups of 6 stitches and you'll be good to go. I started with a chain of 39. You could start with a chain of 45 or 51 or 57 or 63. If it doesn't seem like the band is going to be wide enough to make it around your wrist once you've hit that 39 chains, adjust as necessary, just adjust in groups of 6. All right, I made it to the end of that row and I chained 2 and turned. And now for this next row, I'm going to be doing the reverse of what I did for that first one. So the first stitch I see has been pulled back. It was a front post on the previous row. So I'm going to treat it like a back post for this row. That's going to maintain the pulled back part, so it keeps that column all pulled back. The next 2 stitches were back post double crochets in the last row, but this row we're going to treat them like front post double crochets. And we're going to repeat that across, so it's going to be back post double crochet, front post, back post, front post, front post. And we're going to do that all the way across. And at the end of the row, chain 2 and turn. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the end of row number 3. For row number 1, we did the double crochets. Row number 2, we did front post, back post, front post, back post, back post. For row number 3, we did back post, front post, back post, front post, front post, and I'm just coming up to the end now. So I'm going to finish with a back post and then 1 double crochet into that chain 2 loop from the previous row. And then I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and turn. Now we're on row number 4. So from row number 4 until row number 8, we're going to just keep repeating this pattern of the front posts and back posts double crochet. That is going to give us a nice length for our rib stitch. So we're going to go all the way up to row number 8, doing this exact same repeat. Or if you've changed it to a different repeat, just do up to 8 rows. You could do 6 rows or 10 rows, it's up to you. I wouldn't go too far beyond the 8 though, just because this is a more snug fit for a cuff, and making it longer, it might not be as comfortable if it's a long, tight cuff as opposed to a little bit of a shorter one. Up to you. So do as many rows as you want, just keep your rows even. I'll meet you back here when I finish my 8 rows. All right, I'm just coming up now to the end of row number 8, and I'm gonna just show you how that texture is gonna look, how that rib stitch comes out. It's really cute. At the end of this row, chain 2, 1 and 2, and you can see now it's got a chunkier rib. So we've got 2 going forward, 1 going backward. I like it. I think it's a cute sort of look. So for this next row, row number 9, we're gonna do 3 double crochet stitches in each stitch across. 3 double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. I'm not putting the hook in the top of the stitch for this. I'm putting it in between the 2 double crochet stitches. So in between the 2 posts is where I'm putting those 3 double crochet stitches. And I'm doing that in each of the spaces all the way across. This is gonna flare out our sleeve a little bit, and it'll make room for the next step, which is more of a lacy stitch. All right, I'm just finishing up that row of double crochets now. I've got just my last 3 stitches there in the final stitch. And at the end of this row, I'm just gonna chain 1 and turn. So I've got my 3 in there, I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. So you can see now that ruffly sort of business going on there that is going to help flare out the sweater. For the first stitch of this row, I'm going to single crochet into the first stitch. Then chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches, so skip 1, skip 2, and we're going to single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to skip 2, 1, and 2, and we're going to single crochet into that 3rd stitch. Then we're going to chain 3 again, skip 2 again, 1 and 2, and single crochet in the 3rd stitch. And we're going to repeat this all the way across. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet in the 3rd. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet in the 3rd. I'm going to repeat that all the way across, and at the end of the row, you should finish with a single crochet stitch in the last stitch of the row, and I will meet you back when I get to the end of my row. All right, so I finished my last stitch there, and then I'm going to do a single crochet at the end of the row, chain 1, and turn. And now I'm going to single crochet into the first stitch of the row, and then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet into the space left from the chain 3 from the previous row. And across the row, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and just single crochet into those chain 3 spaces. And this is actually how we're going to be moving forward from row number 11 all the way up to row number 80. We're going to be repeating this chain 3 single crochet, chain 3 single crochet. We're doing our single crochets into that chain 3 space from the previous row, and we're just going to work up. We should finish each row and start each row with a single crochet. That's going to leave us with a nice straight up side, and we're going to go all the way up to row number 80, and that should bring us to the length of sleeve that I want for this project. You can definitely go longer if you want longer sleeves, but this should be a pretty long sleeve garment. We'll see. So I'm just gonna zip through this part, crocheting up on the sleeve until I hit row number 80. So I will see you then. Hey friends, before we get back into the instructions, I just want to remind you to like the video. Click the like button. It really helps out and I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so I'm just coming up to the end now. I ended up doing an additional 10 rows, so I went up to row number 90. So here is my final sleeve. I think it's perfect. It's not too puffy, but it does have some volume, which I think is gonna be great. You've got to make 2 of these, obviously, and I'm going to just give you the measurements now. The cuff is about 7 inches when it's not stretched, but when it's stretched, it's about 9 inches by about 2 inches. So that's the cuff. When we get to length, from the edge of the cuff all the way up to where it will attach to the shoulder, it is about 23, 24 inches, and across it is about 18, 19 inches. So that is the sleeve. Got to make 2 of those. And now let's move on to the body. But first, hello friends! I just wanted to jump in here to thank the sponsors of today's video. My patrons, my top tier patron. We have Dave on a rave. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And then we have Claire. Thank you so much. You are in a category of your own. And then Thunder's buddies here. We have Alexandra, Diane, Jazz, Jessica, and Abigail. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. You guys are my nest egg. You guys are my, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a bird metaphor. You get it. Here's some pretty eggs. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are my top supporting patrons this month, and I do really appreciate you guys. So back to the video, but I just wanted to give a shout out to you guys, because without you guys, where would I be? All right, back to the video. All right, so moving into the body. For the body, we're going to need 2 panels because it's going to be an open front thing. For the first bit, it's actually the exact same pattern that we used for the sleeve, all the way up to row number 25. So for row number 25, from 0 to 25, it's the exact same steps that you took for the sleeve. I'm gonna be picking up with you here at row number 25, where we are going to start the decreases that make it sort of V shape that we get at the front of a cardigan. So for this row, I began with a chain 1 and turn. I'm gonna single crochet into the first stitch like we've been doing, chain 3, single crochet into the chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet into the chain 3 space. I'm gonna do that almost all the way across. The difference for this row is we are going to leave the last 7 spaces, the last 7 chain 3 spaces, we're gonna leave them unworked. This is where the armpit shaping is going to sort of come into play. So we're gonna leave the last 7 chain 3 spaces unworked, but we're gonna keep doing the same pattern. So once you get to that 7th from the end chain 3 space, I'm gonna come back here and explain how I'm gonna turn it around and keep moving forward with this. All right, so I made it to the end of that row, leaving the last 7 spaces unworked. I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. Then I'm gonna single crochet into that first stitch, chain 3, 2, 3, and then single crochet into the chain 3 space. Then I'll chain 3, single crochet into the chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna work all the way across, but at the end of the row, when you would normally put your second single crochet in, so we're gonna do a chain 3 and then a single crochet in the last chain 3 space, stop there, and that's where I'll come back to show you what we're gonna do next. Okay, so I'm at my last spot where I would normally put a single crochet and then I would do a single crochet in that last stitch of the row. So I'm gonna do my chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I am going to single crochet in that stitch, but I'm not going to do the single crochet in that final stitch that I've been doing in order to keep the rows straight. I'm just gonna skip doing that, and then I'm gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna turn. From here, I am now on row number 28. I'm now in row number 28. So from here, I am going to single crochet into that chain 3 space from the previous row, and then I'm gonna chain 3 and single crochet in the next chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet, and I'm gonna do that all the way across. But what you'll notice, since we didn't do that final single crochet stitch at the edge of the row, we've begun a decrease. We've got a little stair step decreased beginning. From now all the way up until row number 64, we're going to repeat this decrease. I'll go through it with you for 2 more rows just to make sure that it's clear what we're going to be doing for the next many rows. But for this part, for row number 28, we're going to just single crochet in the chain 3 spaces and then chain 3, single crochet in the chain 3 space. The first stitch was different though. There's going to be one side working up straight and one side working up on the diagonal. It doesn't really make sense how I'm saying it, but I promise it does make sense. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the end of that row. I'm gonna single crochet in the chain 3, and then I'm going to chain 3 one more time. I'll single crochet into that chain 3, and now we want this row to move up straight again. So we're going to do an additional single crochet into that single crochet stitch from the previous row. That's just going to straighten our edge up, and then I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And again, to keep the edge straight, we're going to start this row with a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and insert the hook and do a single crochet into the chain 3 space from the previous row. And from here, we're going to do that same repeat across with the chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, all the way up until we reach the end of this row. And I will meet you when we get there so I can show you how to do that decrease again. All right, so I just completed my last single crochet, and then if you'll remember, we did that chain 3 to start the row off rather than a single crochet. We're going to do that again. So we finished in the last chain 3 space there, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work, and then we're going to single crochet into the chain 3 space from the previous row, chain 3, 2, 3, and then keep working that repeat across. You can see we've still got that decrease going. So we're going to do this decrease at the beginning of every even row, and then we're going to just work all the way across, leaving the last stitch unworked in every odd row. But we're going to keep this decrease going all the way from here up to row number 64. From here to row 64, we're going to be doing this alternate of one row where we start with a single crochet and a chain 3, and one row where we start with just a chain 3. So that will create a straight edge on one side and a V-neck sort of decrease going on the other side. I really hope that makes sense. If you have questions and you want more personalized help, not necessarily just from me, but from the entire Last Minute Laura community, I recommend that you join the Patreon. For $2 a month, you get access to the group Discord. And it's basically a chat room where you can ask questions, upload photos, do all that sort of stuff. You can even upload photos of your work in progress with a very specific question. And there's a good group of people in there, a really nice community. And I usually post updates in there of what I'm working on. I'll post when I'm live streaming, that sort of thing. And there's a lot of people who would be able to help you with any questions that you might have, including me. When it comes to any of my videos, I answer questions in there as well. So you get that with the $2 Patreon. You also get access to all of the written bullet journal patterns that I make, so that might also help with instructions for this one. So if you want a little bit more help or a little bit more detailed instructions, check the links in the description to my Patreon, and that might be able to help you out. I'm just gonna zip through this part now because it's just the same repeat, back and forth, decreasing on one side, not decreasing on the other side. And I will meet you back here when I'm coming up to the end of row number 64 so I can show you what we're gonna do next. All right, and I'm just finishing up a row number 64 now. I'm gonna pull a loop through, and there we go. You can see that decrease now. We're gonna have it crossing over another piece, so it's gonna be like a cardigan, but not with buttons. So let me tell you the measurements of this one now. The cuff is the same, between 7 and 9 inches, depending on if it's stretched or not, by 2 inches. The full length from the top of the shoulder to the bottom is about 15.5 inches. The width across, it's the same as the sleeve. I'm gonna say somewhere around 16 inches. And then that long diagonal for me, I don't know if this is a helpful measurement, but that long diagonal measures about 17 inches for me. At the spot where the armpit shaping happens, that 7 spaces that we skipped in order to shape the armpit is about 5 inches long. And then from the armpit to the top of the shoulder is about 8.5, 9 inches long. And then the measurement from the armpit to where it goes across on that same row, but at the armpit, it's about 12 or 13 inches across if it's spread out flat. So I hope those measurements help, but that is our front piece. We need 2 of these. So now we've got the sleeve done and the front piece. Let's move on to our final piece, the back. So for the back of this, I am going to start with a chain of 82. Now I'm going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and I'm going to double crochet across. At the end of this row, chain 2 and turn. Then we're going to follow the same repeat for the rib stitch that we did for the sleeves and for the front body pieces. We're going to start with a front post double crochet and then do 2 back post double crochets, and then a front post and then 2 back posts. In the next row, we're going to start with a back post double crochet and then do 2 front post double crochets, back post, 2 front post. Following row, we're going to repeat the first repeat, which is front post, back post, back post, and we're going to repeat that the same number of rows we've done for the sleeves and for the body piece, so that is a total of 8 rows we're going to do that ribbed stitch. Again, you can make this body piece larger just by going in groups of 6 stitches. So I'm starting with 82. You can go up in groups of 6 stitches or down in groups of 6 stitches depending on the size you're going for. The idea was that it would be about halfway around my waist, maybe a little bit bigger than that just so it's cozy, but that's the measurement you're looking for. So do as many chains as it takes in groups of 6 for the double crochet row to measure from like your armpit to your other armpit, but around your back. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm gonna zoom through this part because it's the exact same rib stitch repeat, and I will see you back here once I've finished that part and it's time to move into the body. All right, I'm coming up now to the end of row number 8 for the hem band of the back body piece. Just doing my last couple of front post, back post repeats. At the end of this row, I am gonna chain 2 and turn. We're going to be following the same idea that we did for the sleeves and the front body piece, with this row being a double crochet row. The one thing we're going to do a little bit differently though is how much we're going to do increases. So for the front piece and the sleeves, we did 3 stitches per stitch. 1, 2. For the back piece, we're only going to do 2 stitches per stitch. The reason for this is we don't need the back to be so baggy. It can fit a little closer to the skin. So we're just going to do 2 rows of double crochet, or sorry, 2 stitches of double crochet in each stitch across. And at the end of the row, I will meet you back there for our next step, which is going to be that chain 3 single crochet repeat. So I will meet you when we get to the end of the row. Once you finish your double crochet row, by the way, chain 1 and turn. All right, and there's my last stitch. And I'm going to chain up 1 and turn. I'm going to put a single crochet into that first stitch. Then I'm going to chain 3, 1 and 2 and 3, skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then single crochet in the third stitch. It's the same repeat from here on out that we did for the sleeve and for the body piece, all the way up to row number 25. So on this first row, I'm doing chain 3, skip 2 stitches, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, skip 2 stitches, single crochet into the next stitch. In the next row after this, I'll just be doing chain 3, single crochet into the chain 3 space from the previous row. It's exactly the same repeat that we did for the body, the front pieces, I should say, and the sleeves. So we're going to do that all the way up till row number 25, and I will meet you back here at row number 25 to show you how we're going to do the arm shaping for the back piece. All right, so I've made it to the end of row number 25. I'm just going to secure off my yarn at this point because we're going to be doing the arm shaping now, and we need to reattach our yarn at the 7th stitch. So I'm going to flip my yarn so I'm working as if I did like chain 1 and turn. And then I'm going to count in 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On that 8th chain 3, I'm going to connect my new, not my new yarn, I'm going to connect my working yarn, and I'm going to start that whole this whole thing with a chain 4, because the chain 1 is going to represent the single crochet that would go here, and then the chain 3 to get us to the next loop over here. And I'm going to do the same repeat across, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. I'm going to do that all the way until I get to the 8th space from the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On this 8th space, I'm going to do my final single crochet, and then I'm going to be chain 1, turn, single crochet into the first stitch. And from here, this is going to be our new, well, it's all bunched up, but we're going to be moving straight up from here. It's just going to be a straight up rectangle, and we're going to keep going all the way up to row number 64 with the new amount of stitches. So we were doing the entire body, but now we're going to be leaving the armpit area unworked, and that's where the sleeve is going to fit in the end. Okay, so I finished my back body piece. I lost the clip because I didn't hit record, but I have the body piece finished for the back. So the top measurement, like from where we shaped the armpits, it is about 21 inches for mine, and then the height from where we shaped the armpit shaping, until the top of the shoulder shaping, which there is no neckline for this one, it's just straight across. That is about 12 inches. So I hope that's helpful. Oh, I guess maybe the full height from the bottom all the way to the top, 17, maybe 18 inches. Now it's time to put this thing together. So we're gonna do this the same way that I do my regular pullovers. We're gonna start with putting the shoulders together, and then we're gonna put the sleeves in and then crochet the side seam and bottom part of the sleeve. If you haven't watched any of my tutorials and that doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry, I'm gonna show you how I'm doing it. but I'm going to be doing my same process I normally do. So let me just get situated on the floor so I can show you the flat lay of it. Okay, so I've got my pieces. I've got 2 sleeves, 2 front body pieces, and 1 back body piece. I'm gonna take those front body pieces and I'm gonna attach them at the shoulder like that to the back, and then I'll just put the sleeves in, just like that. And then after it's been sewn here and here, I'll fold it over, and hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll end up with a really nice, cute little bolero cardigan type thing. So let's get that done now. Oh my goodness. Trying to make a bolero here, baby. That's our rooster. I don't know if you can hear him in the microphone, but my rooster is just going off right now. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day, and he's letting everyone know that he is having a good one. All right, so now let's do the shoulders. I've stitch markered them together just so it's easier for me. And what I'm going to do to put these together, I did wrong sides together. I'm gonna start by inserting my hook into the first stitch on both pieces of fabric. I'm gonna put the tail of my yarn around the hook, but I'm also gonna grab those 2 tails from the 2 body pieces. And so I'm gonna have 3 yarn overs there. And I'm gonna pull all 3 of them through. And then just with the working yarn, I'm gonna chain 1. And now for this top row, I'm going to just do my best to single crochet across. I'm gonna single crochet pretty loose, and I'm putting 1 stitch where the chain 3 is, and then 1 stitch where the single crochet is. And I'm gonna do it again pretty loose because we want there to be some movement available there. But 1 stitch in the in-between stitches, the single crochets, and 1 stitch in the chain 3 space. And we're gonna just do that all the way across. Once you get up to the point where your front body piece runs out, where you're done with the shoulder, just yarn over, pull a loop through, and tie it off. And there we go. Both shoulders are now finished. And now it is time to attach the sleeves. So to get this part started, I'm going to just stitch marker to pin the pieces together at strategic points. So I'm going to do the corners of the sleeves matched up to the armpit on the body piece. I'm going to put a stitch marker at the middle of the sleeve and the top of the shoulder, and then I will count down my rows and add a couple of stitch markers where the body piece should end on the sleeve. And that is just going to be sort of my guidelines for when I'm doing my blanket stitches. So I'm going to be putting the sleeves onto the bolero cardigan with blanket stitches. If you don't know how to do blanket stitches, don't worry, I've got a tutorial for you. It's linked in the description and in the iCard for how to do blanket stitches for crochet projects. But I'm not going to explain it in this one. I'm just going to zoom through it because I'm very excited about this to get it finished. I want to wear it right now. So I want to get it together. So let's go through it. Oh my gosh, look, I just finished I just finished putting the first sleeve on. It looks so cute. I think it's going to be a really cute thing. I hope it's really cute. Okay, I'm going to do the other side, and then it's going to be time to do our single crochet, and then it's just going to be the neckline and we'll be done. Okay, I'm going to get that done and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, I just finished putting the second sleeve on. So now we have this big, weird, long piece of fabric. But if we take the sleeve and fold it in half and then put it that way, it looks more like a cardigan. So we're going to keep it inside out for this part. So that means we want the seams on the outside. Now what we're gonna do is a really easy, but also the best part. So we're gonna be single crocheting the arms together all the way up to the armpit, and then we're gonna crochet from the armpit to the bottom side seam. And we're gonna do that on both sleeves. So let's do that. So there's nothing special about this part, just single crochet from the wrist all the way to the bottom of the hem body line. Okay, so the back was way too wide, but I kind of think it was a good thing. I don't know, I'm kind of feeling how the fit is. It's kind of more of a shrug than a bolero. Anyway, I'm gonna add some like finishing touches now. Okay, so I just tried it on and I'm kind of loving it. It's not showing up the way that I thought it was going to, but I'm gonna work with it because I do like how it looks. So what I'm going to do to finish this off and get it to look a little bit more polished, I'm gonna single crochet from the bottom edge up to where the decreasing starts. At the point where the decreasing starts, I'm gonna switch to a double crochet. And I'm gonna double crochet all the way up that decrease, all the way around the back body piece, all the way back down the front decreased area. And then once I hit the other seam or the other front piece, I'll switch back to single crochet and I'll make my way down. Then I'm gonna slip stitch back up because I don't want to add any more length there. I think that's fine. And then I'm going to be doing front post, back post double crochets for the edging for around the neckline. There's the explanation. Now let's get to it. I'm going to bring my yarn back in just by pulling up a loop and chaining one, and then I'm just going to single crochet. Since we started each row, well, for the double crochet part, just do your best, put a stitch wherever one fits for you, because this doesn't matter if the stitch numbers are even on both sides. But once we hit that lacy stitch, it's actually awesome because we started each row with a single crochet and we finished each row with a single crochet. So it's really easy to know where to put your stitch because it's one single crochet in each row. And the first stitch is a single crochet in each row, so it's an easy place for your hook to just sort of naturally go. So this makes it a little bit easier, I think. All right, I've made it to where my decreasing is gonna start. Got one more row there. Single crochet into that next row, and then I'm gonna chain two, and then I'm going to double crochet into that stitch, the same one we just worked into, and then I'm going to just switch to a double crochet and work a double crochet all the way around. For this part, I'm just gonna do my best to fit as many stitches as will make it sort of balanced. This part is a little bit tricky just because it's on an angle, so knowing where to put your hook can be kind of tricky, basically. So just do your best with putting the hook wherever it sort of naturally fits. I hope that makes sense. So for me, it's looking like there is a bit of a pattern to it. There is where the largest gaps are, I'm putting 2 double crochets, and then otherwise I'm doing 1 double crochet in the small, just a chain 3, and then 1 double crochet in the row below it. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna do 1 double crochet at the beginning of the row, and then the next row begins with this chain 3, so I'm gonna do a double crochet there. But then this stitch is like very wide. It's like a big gap, so I'm gonna do 2 double crochets there. And then we're back to the beginning of the pattern, so I'm gonna do 1 double crochet, and then in that little chain 3, 1 double crochet, and then in this big gappy stitch, 2 double crochets. So there is a bit of a pattern for it, for me anyway. I hope that yours lines up similarly. If not, like I said, just fit it in where it works, wherever it fits in a balanced way. What I mean by balanced is relatively straight. You want your posts to be relatively straight. You don't want them to be like pulling really hard away from each other. You don't want a whole bunch of them bunched together in one space, because then you'll end up with a ripply edge, and what we want from this edge is to tighten it back in like it did for our top and for our sleeve cuffs, sorry, and our hem. I'm just gonna zoom through it because it's just going to be a round of double crochets. When I get down to where I'm gonna switch back into single crochets, I will come chat with you then. Okay, and I'm just doing my last double crochet. Yep. And now I'm going to do my next stitch in single crochet, and then I'm just going to single crochet down to the hemline. Okay, and now I'm at that bottom. I'm going to continue the front post double crochet. So I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to do front post, back post double crochets like we did for the hemline, I'm just going to follow the same pattern that's already there on the bottom hemline, but I'm just gonna go over it just once, and when I make it back to the other corner, I'll just secure off my yarn. Or maybe I won't. Let me do this first, and then we'll get to that side. By double crocheting over this end, it's going to make the entire bottom of the garment sort of be more smooth because it's a little choppy where the pieces are sewn together. So this is going to smooth it out, and it's also going to make the end of the garment feel like a little more stretchy. Instead of having that initial chain as the bottom, which will be tight and won't have a ton of stretch, this way it'll have a set of double crochet front post back posts as the bottom seam. So I'm going to do that. Let me just zoom through these front post back posts when I get to that other corner, the bottom corner of the hem on the other side of the body. I'll meet you back here. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of my front post back post double crochets that I'm doing a reinforcing of the rows with. This is also super useful to make your garment structurally stronger because it's adding a whole other layer, holding the garment together. Not just your seams now are working, this is also holding it together. So, all right, when I get to this corner, I have decided, since I have such a small amount of yarn in the ball I'm working with left, I am going to tie off my yarn and just reconnect it where the double crochets begin. So I'm just gonna skip all of those single crochets that we did. So I'll yarn over an extra loop, pull through, and then I'll just weave that end in later. So that was the ball. Now I'm gonna just grab a new one. And like I said, I'm gonna reattach where the double crochets start. So I'm just gonna pull up a loop right in that first double crochet area, chain one, and then I'm gonna just chain two. And now I'm going to begin working in my front post, back post double crochets. We did a round of double crochets already, so the foundation row is finished. Now I'm just going to do the same pattern we did for the bottom cuff and for the wrists cuffs. I'm gonna do 2 front post double crochets followed by 1 back post double crochet, and then 2 front post, 1 back post, and I'm just gonna repeat that all the way around until I get to where the double crochets end. And then what I'm gonna do from there is chain up 2 and then go back over what I just worked, doing the same pattern again, the front post, back post. And that is going to, I'm gonna do that, I think, probably for 4 more rows. So this is row 1 of the front post, back post double crochet. I'm gonna do, I think, 5 rows total of the front post, back post double crochet, but I will come back here. If it ends up being less than that, I'll come back here and let you know. But I think 5 should be a good number of rows. So I'm gonna go through that now because it's gonna take me a little bit. So I will see you then. Okay, so I got a little bit distracted while watching a video and I ended up doing all of the ribbed stitching for the collar. Oh god, it's so cute. And actually I changed my mind. I was going to do the same thing that I did at the bottom, like reinforcing the crochets on the sleeves by doing a couple of rows of the front post, back post, just on the cuff to finish it. But I've changed my mind. I think it fits really well the way that it sits right now. I think the cuffs are like the perfect size. The color is amazing. Now, guess what? It's done. Let me show you what it looks like on. Ta-da! What do you think? I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of totally obsessed with it. I love how the back is this high sort of cropped cover bolero shrug sort of thing, but since the sleeves are baggy and a little oversized, but they have that really cute tight cuff, there's this super casual, cozy flow to it, I think. I love how the front body pieces hang down. It allows me to sort of like wrap up in it, which is great. I love how that collar turned out. I think it really added something to this design, and I think this is actually going to be one of my go-to house sweaters now. It's so cozy and it's so easy to just throw on, and it's not too hot, not too cold. It's beautiful. What do you think though? Let me know what you think of this. I know I called it bolero. I think it's a shrug. I think it's the puffy sleeved shrug. How do you like the shrug though? Let me know in the comments if you're going to be making yourself this cropped, slouchy, casual shrug. And let me know what you want me to do next, because March is basically here, which means a new month of projects to get started. I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. That's all I've got for you. I will see you tomorrow in the live stream from 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. If that's not your thing, I will see you next Friday for another tutorial. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!